Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're live. Okay, on this lovely July 13th, lucky 13th. We're very fortunate from the lovely state of Arizona, North Scottsdale office, to have real estate extraordinaire, Mr. AJ Juhasz to the show. To the show. AJ, welcome to the show, my man.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Your last name always screws me up because I just call you AJ.
Well, you are not the only one, so that's why AJ was born, because I have a very unusual name, and it's difficult for people to pronounce. So that's why I have to rebrand myself.
I think your first name is awesome. Attila Juhasz. That sounds like really European.
Oh, yes. That's for sure. Except when you are doing a business transaction, it becomes a tongue twister. So that's why, when I first started, which was 7.5 years ago, I was talking to my broker back then, Shirley, and I told her that I felt like I had to rebrand myself after living in the States for 31 years. And she said, why? And I said, well, I just want to make it easier for people to remember me and, don't make them butcher my name. So that's how AJ was born.
I love it. Yeah, and let's face it, you were Shirley's favorite. And she used to call you Attila, too. She called you by your first name all the time. And she obviously, her and Phil helped you tremendously. And you've been in my coaching ever since you started as well, my man. You guys, you've done incredibly well. But tell them a little about your journey and how this all started for you, please.
Well, so I was born in Hungary, and growing up, Hungary was communistic, and the problem was that my family was Catholic, which was not a good idea in a communistic country. Also, they were private entrepreneurs. And then I ended up joining an anti-communistic band called End of the Suffering. And that basically ended up putting me on a blacklist. So I was trying to go to a university, and I tried it back in 1986. They turned me down. Tried it back in 1987. Once again, I couldn't get in. So I decided to escape the collective warmth of communism, and I ended up in Arizona. And over here, I ended up going and doing my undergrad in marketing, and then I also went on to getting my master's in international management. And it's funny because when I got into real estate, I didn't realize that I would be still able to use my master's in international management, just because Arizona used to be kind of a sleepy state for international business. We still hardly have any international flights. But then when TSMC put in, initially I think they started with $40 billion of investment in Arizona. Now they upped it to $165 billion. And, this Taiwanese company ended up bringing in a lot of international business. So I have a new listing very close to the facility. And even yesterday, there was an Indian couple who came in and were reviewing, or, they were checking out the house. And I was kind of smiling. I'm like, I didn't think that I will use my international degree anymore, but still, like this year, I had a Vietnamese client, I had a French client. We were selling a house to a Polish couple. So, Arizona is changing. It's definitely becoming more and more international. So it's interesting to see.
It's so true.
That, yeah. And then I went on to different ventures in my corporate career. First, I was in sports apparel. Then I ended up in the optical industry. Then I was working for a commercial washroom accessories company. Then I was in the tabletop industry. Then I was in consumer goods, meaning I was working for the Dial Corporation. And then finally I had a short stop in a medical supply company. And then I decided that I was kind of tired of traveling, because I had these international and national jobs where I was traveling 65 to 75% of my time. And at one point I was like, I can't really travel long distances anymore. It just didn't feel like it was fun to rush to an airport, wait for the airplane, then rush to a rental car place. So anyway, I just got tired of that. And also, there was a period when my dad was in Hungary and he was really sick, and I couldn't really have a normal job where I was traveling so much. So for kicks and giggles, I ended up taking the real estate courses, and I was halfway through it. And I remember coming back home and I was telling my wife, I'm like, hey, I think this is something that I would really like to try as a professional. And she was super supportive. She was like, hey, give it a try. And I gave it a go, and I've been doing it ever since and having a lot of fun. And all thanks to you too, because you were the first one that started my training, because I started in February of 2019, and I started by attending your success series back at the Old Kirtland.
Oh, thank you.
It was a week-long, eye opener. So, I started by putting down some good, solid foundation. So, thanks to you.
Oh, my pleasure. It's been a pleasure working with you too, watching you climb, and now you're always in the top 1 or 2 in your office, and it's refreshing to see someone like yourself, first off, who comes from a country who just loves being in the country, loves being, a citizen of this country, and all the all the stuff you came out
the
of,
opportunities.
Came here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The opportunities. I coach a number of people that are in the same type of situation and are so grateful, and so it's so great to see and how you came here and you really, even starting with, and I know with your money for school, you bought a house, you did so many entrepreneurial things that you wouldn't have been able to do where you came from. So that's so great.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because you mentioned, like, I used part of my tuition to purchase my first house, and then I ended up having 2 roommates that helped me pay for my mortgage. But at the same time, I also remember one time I went to Nashville, and I was there with my assistant for a conference. And when I had free time, I ended up getting into the car, and I was driving around different neighborhoods in Nashville, and I had Zillow open, and just for kicks and giggles, I was trying to see what were the prices of different homes in different neighborhoods. And my assistant was laughing. She's like, I knew that eventually you would end up in real estate because nobody does silly stuff like that. So, I always loved real estate and homes. So, I wanted to try corporate America first, but I just realized a few weeks ago that this is actually the second longest job that I've ever had. So, it's
that's
definitely
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think you were made.
Exciting.
You were made for real estate. Your entrepreneurial spirit, your attention to detail. You're not afraid to get out there, mix it up, make new contacts, prospect. You're a salesperson. I think ultimately you're an entrepreneurial salesperson.
Yeah.
Right.
But
also, that's a good thing.
The other thing that's really exciting about real estate is that it's ever changing. So, I think right now I'm on transaction number 90 and 91. But when I look back the past 7.5 years, it's just amazing to see, like, first of all, you meet a lot of, great people, you learn about their stories, and it's always exciting. It's always different because, I was telling you about how many different industries I was in. But the problem was that, I get bored pretty easily. And when you look at real estate, it's every transaction is different, and you have to problem solve, and you meet new people, and it's just it's never the same. Like so many transactions, and none of them were the same.
Yeah, so true. Especially in your average sale price is what, like $1.5 million, maybe more right now. I don't know exactly. Do you know what your average sale price is?
Yeah, my average is 1.2 million right now.
1.2, yeah. I would have guessed it was somewhere in there, right? So, and those transactions are definitely different because of the person you're dealing with, right? A lot of them don't have to do anything, and then they put so it's a different process than someone's that's being relocated or moving out or, So it's a slightly different process. So the fact that you're able to mix it up, which I think that's what I'm saying, you have designed, made, and all your past experience is just helpful for this. It's, like I can think of two people in your office that came out of corporate, like you guys were heavily in corporate, was you and Rebecca Murphy, both you guys got into the business and killed it doing it the way you want to do it, right? Because that's the thing about real estate is you can do it exactly the way it fits into your personality.
Yeah. That's a very, very, very key point that, no two success stories sound the same. But one thing about corporate America, it definitely teaches you discipline and, even sometimes when you don't feel like doing something and if something is due or if your boss tells you, oh, you need to do this, even though you think that it doesn't make any sense, you still have to do it. So it definitely teaches you discipline and you have to hustle because, in the positions that I was in, there were 2 to 3 people waiting for me to stumble and basically step into my spot. So you definitely feel like you are hunted all the time. So you just want to make sure that you deliver to the best of your knowledge.
Right. And which yet another thing that makes real estate different is you're an independent contractor. You're a solo entrepreneur, right? Yeah. The only one that can hire or fire you is you and your clients. But for the most part, as long as you keep showing up and doing it every day, that's the one thing that when I was in college, I recognized right away because I had already had a job or two. And I realized if the person above you is threatened by you, or like if you're a hard worker and you're a go-getter, not everybody likes that in the corporate world, especially if they're above you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They want to squash you and slow you down. Where in real estate, you get paid what you're worth, and the most important vote is yours, and you can produce as much or as little or whatever you're comfortable doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
And also,
so tell them a little. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, and the good thing is that, I had different sales and marketing positions, but at the same time, when it comes to real estate, like I was able to bundle everything that I have learned in the past and kind of utilize it and create my own marketing team, even though I'm doing everything by myself. So I even do my own paperwork and I come up with marketing ideas. And just because I have the skill sets from my past to, create really good presentations or even do some, graphic design and editing. So everything that I learned in the past, it almost like it falls into place and helps me become more successful with real estate.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah. It is what you make it. And, but you jumped right in. Okay. So you climbed the ladder quickly. Tell them a little about that, how you became successful so quickly in real estate.
Oh, yeah. So by year 3, I ended up reaching 20 transactions, which amounted to $20 million. And first of all, the real important beginning was to, kind of attend your class and also all the different classes that Shirley and Phil was organizing. Also, I want to mention Mary Sand, who, was instrumental from the beginning, helping me learn the little details or sometimes even keeping me in line. Sometimes I would reach out to her. I'm like, hey, I feel like this is maybe unethical from the other agent. What is your opinion? So really the beginning of the success was having really awesome people in the organization helping me guide towards my goals, and that's what that was very, very important, because if you don't have a solid foundation, then you cannot really build a house on it. So basically, that's what the success for me, or that was the foundation of the success. And after that, in my corporate life, I used to do a lot of trade shows. So what's the closest to a trade show when it comes to real estate? Obviously, open houses. And because you basically are there, people approach you, you basically try to sell the house, but also at the same time, you're selling yourself. So initially, I was very successful getting to know people via open houses, but also at the same time, because of my various corporate backgrounds, I also had a very solid sphere of influence. So I had hundreds and hundreds of people in my phone, but I didn't have email addresses. So I was trying to figure out, how to get their email addresses, but also on LinkedIn, I had a lot of connections, and I eventually figured it out that if you are already connected with somebody, you can find their email addresses. So I was able to harvest the email addresses from a lot of my former colleagues and business people that I came in contact with. But then I also, if I didn't have it, I would tell them the story based on your recommendation, saying, hey, I'm in real estate. I ended up getting their contact information. So when I had a solid group of people, I ended up utilizing the VAC, and I put everybody in. And if I knew their birthdays or if I knew their anniversaries, I ended up setting them up on different drip campaigns. Also during the open houses, people would come in, they would give me their email address, and I would put them on these email drip campaigns via the VAC. And just last week, I had somebody that I met 5 years ago. He gave me his email address. I put him in the VAC. I didn't hear from him for 5 years. And last week he reached out. He's like, hey, you've been very persistent, reaching out to me. And I feel like I'm ready to give you a chance. So I ended up doing a listing presentation just because, he's been in my database for 5 years. And this was really the longest time I've been communicating with somebody, but I had multiple situations where somebody was on my drip campaign via the VAC, and they ended up reaching out, and I ended up doing business with them. So, sometimes it's not how hard you work, but also how smart you work. So, once again, the VAC is one of the tools that I cherish in this organization because it just helps you look active without having to do anything on the daily basis.
I love it. Yeah. You came in and you immediately used all the training, Shirley, Mary, I would even say Phil, myself.
Oh, yeah.
You immediately, and then you started using the company tools and the branding right away, and you built your business, you built your pipeline, you built your network. And then all of a sudden, boom, it started paying back to you and that's such a great message for the newer people and even the people that have been in it for a while that need to, do exactly what you just mentioned to make their business, because even while you're sleeping, your business is working for you. I mean, those neighborhood reports, I think you were mentioning from the VAC, I mean, those things, I send myself one every month. They're dynamite. They look really good. They're completely accurate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's very important. And I was smiling when you said you send yourself one, because I send myself one too. So it's important.
Yeah, it's funny because I have one of the. Go ahead.
And also, what's awesome about it is that it's not intrusive, because it's basically being a nosy neighbor, which if you do an open house, you learn about the concept of nosy neighbors immediately, because they just kind of come out and they check it out and they're like, hey, what's the value? And they like to look at it. So in a sense, when you send that report, it's not like, hey, do you want to list with me? Do you want to list with me? It's you're providing valuable information to people without, bothering them. And as I mentioned to you in my earlier example, sometimes it takes 5 years to succeed, but at the same time, they keep looking at it and they appreciate it. And, it's a very useful tool. And once you set it up, it's on autopilot, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think it's absolutely fabulous. I think you're going to love, I came up with a new designation and I've been working on it now. So I've come up with a 3-hour for people like yourself that have closed at least 50 transactions or more. It's going to be a 3-hour class with me, and you get a certificate, your PIN. It's called the GSD, which has a double meaning. Obviously, you've heard the saying GSD, get, stuff done, but it also stands for grind, strategize, and deliver, right? So that's what the pin says and the certificate. Yeah. So I've just finished it. I'm going to talk to Christina, and I'm going to do it in Arizona, California, and Nevada. And I've already given away a few.
Ooh, awesome.
If I was in Arizona, AJ, I would have already given you one. But when I get to Arizona, we're gonna do that again, and it'll be a great little class because I haven't done anything in Arizona in a while. So we're gonna plan that soon. But before we go here, I got to get your top three, man. So you're an agent today, and you want to come out of the gates hot, or you want to just increase and do a better job. What were the three most important things you tell them to focus on?
So one of the things is to keep learning because, obviously you've been in real estate for a lot longer than I have, but even in the last 7.5 years, things have changed so much. And, now everybody's talking about AI taking jobs, AI changing everything. So last November and December, I had a period where my business was kind of slow. So I started kind of experimenting with AI, and I was shocked how much it can even help your job, because at the beginning I was like, I'm not going to use AI to help with the descriptions just because, that's part of my brand. And I use it with caution, because obviously it's just like what they say about computers, like garbage in, garbage out. So you cannot completely rely on it, but it can definitely help you. And also with all the technological developments, we are living in a world that's ever changing. So that's why I want to say that, learning and continuously learning is very, very important, because you want to make sure that you stay at the forefront of this change, and not like a follower, like, I should have, could have, would have done this, blah, blah, blah. So I think, learning is very, very important. And also the second thing would be that you already mentioned, that you kind of have to make real estate your own, because obviously there are certain things that are easier to me. Like I mentioned, that I did a lot of open houses, and that's why my corporate background of doing trade shows was very useful. So even when you come into my office, or when I talk to other people, there are many, many different ways of succeeding in real estate. However, it has to kind of line up with your personality, because then it's easier for you. So I continuously do open houses, even if, it's 110 degrees outside. I still do it, just because even if two people come in during the summer heat, it can be successful. So it's very important to create a real estate environment that you are comfortable with, and comfortable, waking up and doing it over and over again. So that would be my second recommendation. And the third one is really know your market. And what I mean by this, that I have different ways of staying current in my market. So I go visit open houses. I also set up a bunch of different subscriptions where, even if I'm not currently marketing to one neighborhood, maybe I have done it in the past, or maybe it's one of my farming neighborhoods. I like to see the activity that they are having, just because I want to understand, like, okay, now this is the price point, or, look at this beautiful house. Oh, no way, they broke my record in that neighborhood. So I always keep an eye on different neighborhoods. And then also sometimes I like to just kind of get lost while I'm driving and discover new neighborhoods, just kind of drive through it, get a feel for, oh my gosh, I've been living around this neighborhood for 20 plus years, but I've never driven through it. So sometimes I just kind of go off the beaten path that's comfortable for me, and just kind of, drive around, because Arizona, or, the Phoenix area is huge, but it has many different little niches. Different neighborhoods can provide different values and different experiences. So it's very important that you understand these different neighborhoods, because then you can sell it much better. I also like to attend some of the broker tours, because you get to see, beautiful homes, and even sometimes if it's not extraordinary, but still, once again, it's great to learn about the different properties that are available. And I also, because of my training, I'm kind of a statistical geek. I like to see like prices changing, is it going up? Is it going down? Once again, in the VAC, you can enter a zip code and see, hey, what's happening to the prices. And because I utilize that tool for my listing presentations, I'm always curious to see, hey, what is happening in that zip code, because it's night and day. Sometimes you hear it on the news or you read it like, oh, real estate market is great. Oh, real estate market is going down. So there's so much noise. And then when you start doing a deep dive, you realize that one shoe does not fit all. It's a very dynamic market, even within a microclimate like Scottsdale. There are some zip codes that are doing fantastic, and there are some zip codes that are struggling. But once again, we have the tools to basically not rely on what some report is telling you or what some reporter is telling you on TV. You can actually see, hey, this is the realistic picture. So those
absolutely, my man.
My three.
Those are three awesome ones and perfect timing. We're right at time. So listen, I just want to say, everybody, send all your referrals from North Scottsdale or even Scottsdale to AJ. And AJ, I want to just thank you very much for taking your time out today and sharing your nuggets. I really appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you. You're the best. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. All right, my man. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Awesome.
Bye, AJ. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.